This video is to help improve how you're using reverse audio in your music projects, whether that's for transition sounds, riser effects, or other just creative sound design things that you're doing with it. These are 3 tips that I've come across when using reverse audio in my own projects, and I hope they help you out too. By the way, my name is Marcus, aka Cradle Cat. I have my music links down in the description, and if you want to see more videos on tutorials for production, live stream songwriting, or just more of my own music, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to my channel so you get more of that content. Also, if you have any other tutorial topics you want to see, go ahead and drop those video ideas in the comments below. All right, let's dive into tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to bounce it. Bouncing the audio is really basic, but it allows you to do more complex things afterwards. So, for example, even something as simple as transposing it, so it's higher pitched or lower pitched, doing that without bouncing it is kind of a pain in the butt. So, for example, if we have our crash here, we bring up our region area, just click that reverse button. We now have the reversed audio, but then if I try to transpose it, it doesn't like that. So instead, once I reverse it, go ahead and just bounce that in place. Now, on this new audio, reversed audio track that's bounced in place, transposing it is super simple. So just to hear the difference there for why we might do that. Versus just a different sound that you might be using in your project. Tip number 2 is to reverb or not to reverb. And I guess that's more of a question, but it's not the only question you should be asking. It should be when to use reverb in your process of reversing audio. For example, in the crashes that we just looked at, I had reverb on those, and it made for a smoother transition out of it after it was bounced. However, if I turn that reverb off, we're going to get a much harsher cutoff, which is great for those fake drops or just making sudden transitions more impactful. However, if we had instead decided to bounce the reverb in with the original audio before we reverse it, it's going to be a different sound in that riser effect. For example, we'll unreverse this. We'll turn the reverb on. So now to start, it sounds like. And we'll even just make that super transparent so we can really see it. And now we'll bounce this track with reverb. Not bypass the plugins and include that audio tail. We want to make sure we do that. Now that we've done that, we'll go ahead and reverse that new audio. Now we can hear a much more gradual and stereo image of that riser effect because it had that reverb on there before we even bounced it. So just to summarize tip number 2 there, think about when you're using reverb in the process and change it up based on how you want to use it in your production. Harsh cutoffs, no reverb on that reverse riser there. Or if you're doing something more of a gradual riser that goes into another crash, maybe put some reverb on that so it softens up the transition and makes it a smoother build into whatever white noise or whatever crash comes right after it in the next hit. And then tip number 3 is to try it on everything. Don't stick to the usual suspects of crashes and reverse pianos and vocal chops where you just use you bounce, like a small syllable of a sung word with reverb on it and then reverse it. I've got another video on that that'll link here that lets you smoothly transition into your vocals. But try it on everything. Don't be afraid to try it on new things. And you can do more creative things like using it on an entire dry guitar loop. For example, here. Versus Or an entire piano loop, same sort of concept there. Or even doing things like turning that into a sampler track so that you can play that reversed audio in segments as a new instrument, or chopping it up manually into new samples. So just as an example of that, let's take this piano loop, bounce that reversed audio in place here. And something we might do is, chop this up and kind of move things around to make a new sound out of it. So, maybe we get rid of that piece. We end up kind of using that right at the beginning, looping that a couple times. Maybe we do extend that and swap a couple of these around just to get a new sound out of it. So not perfect there in the chopping, but just giving you an idea of different things you can do with that reversed audio. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Again, I'm Marcus, aka Cradle Cat, and if you want to see more videos like this one, or live streams of me writing a song from scratch, more of my own music, or other tutorial type videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you get more of that content. Let me know if you have any ideas for other videos you want to see in the comments, and I'll see you next time.